Hey guys, it's been a while, and I have been receiving your messages, so I kind of wanted to start back up on YouTube in a more personalized way. And a lot of you have concerns regarding Beyond Good and Evil 2's fairly recent announcement that the game will be online only. I kind of wanted to take a moment to just address my opinions on the matter before I start talking about stuff that was mentioned in the live stream that has to do with story and gameplay elements. So I'm going to focus on just this for this video. I don't know, I feel like this is something that should be addressed in a more personal way, and it's easier for me to edit too, so plus. Before moving forward, I want to be completely transparent with you. I don't normally gravitate towards games that have multiplayer at all, let alone they're online only. It's extremely rare, and if I do play a multiplayer game, it's usually because it's attached to a single player story that I'm very interested in. That being said, I have played games like Destiny 2, and I really enjoyed it, but I went in knowing what it was and just invested my time based on that knowledge. So, let's talk about Beyond Good and Evil 2. From all of the videos and articles that have been released so far, we can say one thing. It does appear that Beyond Good and Evil 2 has a solid plot. It has lore. It has a story that we could dig our teeth into. We also know another very important factor, and that's that the Beyond Good and Evil 2 devs have been very transparent with us throughout the entire process, and that hasn't changed.
Whether we achieve this kind of transparency that will allow the community to see, okay, this is where the direction where they're going, and if that changes at some point, then we can say, okay, this is why it happened. We told you this is why the change happened, and this is where we're going.
All that being said, there are a lot of valid points being made throughout the community. There's a lot of discussions going on, and that's what I want to focus on, the points that I think are actually valid. Internet connection is kind of a big deal. If you don't have internet connection, if you have a spotty internet connection, then you won't be able to play the game as far as we know. So that poses a problem to fans who don't have that access. But guys, I have no way of knowing what the stats are in regards to how many players who actually want to invest their time in Beyond Good and Evil 2 have or don't have an internet connection in this day and age. I think it's fair to keep that in mind. There's also been talk about game preservation. Gamers who really care about, retro games and they're thinking ahead. They're wondering whether in 10 to 15 years, if the servers are just going to go down and the game is just going to be non-existent. That is something I consider a valid question and something that Ubisoft should consider addressing. But worrying about server stability when the game comes out, I think that's a little premature simply because they are going to be doing testing on that. So I think you should hold off on raging about that. Fucking bastard! In fact, don't rage at all. Just be respectful, ask your questions, talk to the devs, open a dialogue, but just keep all the facts in mind. The biggest thing that I care about personally, that I see impacting me as a player, is something that I think a lot of people can relate to, and that's just the general social anxiety that players who aren't used to playing multiplayer feel when they even hear the word online only or multiplayer game. I know it scares the living crap out of a lot of you just because you feel like there's some kind of social pressure in something that you usually go to escape that feeling. So before multiplayer games, gamers usually went to play games to either just find an escape, to just have fun, to kind of immerse themselves in a completely different world and be someone else. And when you add the multiplayer factor in it, that kind of dulls that feeling, if not completely erases it. So I do think that that's something that we as a community should address and talk about, as well as Ubisoft. I don't think that's on them completely. Like, I can give you an example. For Destiny 2, I played the full game, and when I went into it, I did feel that anxiety. I did feel that uncomfortable feeling you get when you know that you're just gonna be stuck with a bunch of strangers that you don't know, and you don't know what they're gonna say. You don't know if you're gonna have fun. You don't know if they're gonna ruin your experience. But once I started playing, I found it perfectly fine. Everything was fine. It's just that initial fear that I think people need to work on. There's ways that we can do that within our own community, even within this very channel. And I think we can start doing that by creating groups, creating fire teams for other games where we can just go in and play and get used to one another. So that way when the game comes out, we're ready, we don't feel that pressure with each other. It is an interesting topic because I think that a lot of devs need to start considering this factor a lot more if they're planning on transitioning from games that are normally single player and offline to multiplayer and single player and like online always. That's something that they have to think about because their previous demographic is either going to just stop playing the game altogether or try to take the leap, and you want to encourage that leap. So the only way that I can think of doing that is to foster a very interactive and positive community. But I want to know what you think. What are your concerns based on what you think will impact you, not somebody else? Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, remember to click like, comment, and subscribe, and go check out my music at denisetakes.com. Bye!